The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host.
The defendant was in the area. We can prove it by the pings from the towers. Admissible, conviction, affirmed on appeal. Courts, maybe they shouldn't, but they have. But now here comes Tony Willis and says, never again should these pings be ever introduced in a criminal case.
These folks are really out of control. They're getting into these positions of power and running amok, destroying everybody around them. From Illinois to Texas and Louisiana, California, and I could never leave out Georgia, where they're having hot girl summer all year long. You know, quote, acting bad like a city girl would.
The defendant was in the area. We can prove it by the pings from the towers. Admissible, conviction, affirmed on appeal. Courts, maybe they shouldn't, but they have. But now here comes Tony Willis and says, never again should these pings be ever introduced in a criminal case.
These folks are really out of control. They're getting into these positions of power and running amok, destroying everybody around them. From Illinois to Texas and Louisiana, California, and I could never leave out Georgia, where they're having hot girl summer all year long. You know, quote, acting bad like a city girl would.
The defendant was in the area. We can prove it by the pings from the towers. Admissible, conviction, affirmed on appeal. Courts, maybe they shouldn't, but they have. But now here comes Tony Willis and says, never again should these pings be ever introduced in a criminal case.
These folks are really out of control. They're getting into these positions of power and running amok, destroying everybody around them. From Illinois to Texas and Louisiana, California, and I could never leave out Georgia, where they're having hot girl summer all year long. You know, quote, acting bad like a city girl would.
The defendant was in the area. We can prove it by the pings from the towers. Admissible, conviction, affirmed on appeal. Courts, maybe they shouldn't, but they have. But now here comes Tony Willis and says, never again should these pings be ever introduced in a criminal case.
These folks are really out of control. They're getting into these positions of power.
Let's jump right into it. The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host.
Her apartment, the area of her apartment between January and November, so that's before he was hired, had been to her apartment over 35 times, and a few of those times had been a booty call, because you can see where she calls him, he comes on over about 11, 12 at night, then it shows him leaving around 3, 4, close to 5 in the morning, different times, and then when he gets home, he calls her back, but claims, oh, he was there because he was doing the Porsche experience. He was there because he was at a restaurant in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. This isn't like downtown or Buckhead or Midtown in Atlanta. This is in the outskirts of Georgia, around Fulton County, and he claims he was there at a restaurant at 4 something in the morning. Boy, bye. But take a listen to this, because this is going to be key to what the judge is evaluating when he heard these cases. We already know that Fonnie needs to be out of there. She's a hot mess. She has ruined and disgraced the office that she claims to uphold, and she's this dignified, strong, independent black woman that don't need no man. But she's destroyed her entire case, her reputation, her office, probably her job, maybe even parts of her freedom for perjury, tax evasion, all types of things that she's committed for this man she don't need, like the rest of us basic women out here. See, she don't need a man like we do, even though she did the dumbest thing you could possibly do and ruin her entire life over a man. But let's get into this. I think you guys are going to really appreciate this.
This is what Fonnie Willis did, which is so damaging. I think every prosecutor in the United States was squirming when she said this. She submitted a document, a legal brief, in which she said, the fact that there were pings and that he was in the neighborhood is totally irrelevant. It shouldn't even be admissible. It's not in any way probative of the fact that he was in my apartment. He wasn't in my apartment, and the fact that he may have been near my apartment because of the pings is irrelevant. I'll have to tell you, I have a client now who's in jail for 5 years for murder. I wanted his appeal, then the plea bargain got it down, but he's in jail for 5 years based on pings. Based almost exclusively on the fact that cell phone tower pings placed him near, not at, not in, but near where relevant facts occurred, and therefore the jury was allowed to infer, and they did infer, the first trial only got reversed, but infer that he must have been at the crime scene. That is a powerful prosecutorial tool. It's used every day in courtrooms around the United States, including in Fulton County, including in cases brought by Fani Willis. It is one of the most powerful prosecutorial tools in their repertoire, in their armament. The defendant was in the area. We can prove it by the pings from the towers. Admissible, conviction, affirmed on appeal, courts, maybe they should.
Let me stop there right there. A lot of what he's saying is true. For you foreigners who watch my show, here in America, they can ping your phones and place you at a certain place. They can track you like that. And that's how they catch a lot of guys who get out here and do certain things. Let's continue on.
But they have. But now here comes Fani Willis and says, never again should
the business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all.
pay thousands of dollars to compensate him for her half of the trip.
The business, motherfucker.
A year from now, in a ping case, when the defendant says the pings should not be admissible because maybe he was a block away, will she have the nerve to come into court and say, no, for him, this guy about to go to jail, it's admissible. For me it wasn't, but for him it was. Why? Because I'm the chief prosecutor and you have to believe what I have to say. No, it should either be admissible for everybody or admissible for nobody, but there's no special rule for Prosecutor Willis. And I was actually shocked. I'm not easily shocked. I've seen it all. A judge or a jury can infer. Remember, evidence is admissible if a reasonable person can draw an inference.
Remember what he just said. It's got to be admissible for everybody. Not just her, everybody.
It's from it an inference that either helps or hurts the defendant. In this case, obviously, it's going to hurt the not defendant. She's not a defendant. She likes to point out she's not on trial. Yes, you are on trial. You're trying to convict a bunch of people, including some lawyers, for not telling the truth to the court. That's the case you have against Trump and some of the electors and some other people. And you're going to try the case, having as the chief prosecutor in the case, someone who a lot of Americans think committed perjury when he said he didn't have a sexual relationship until after he got appointed, and he didn't pay for anything. Yeah, he made payments all on credit cards and documented, but he got to pay back conveniently in cash without any records. Oh, he has proof. One person at some bar, some wine tasting somewhere in Napa Valley said, I remember she paid a couple $100 for the wine tasting and the meal, proving that she paid thousands of dollars to compensate him for her half of the trip.
The bid.
I'm going to stop there right there. A lot of people don't realize that she is very important right now. Fannie Willis is very important right now. She's prosecuting a man who basically tried to destroy this country. And by her being compromised like that, you know, she messed up a lot of things. They might let Donald Trump slide off on this. Who knows? Let's get to the next video. Cause Hot Girl Summer is just not kicking in full effect. Let's get to the next video.
A Daily Read.
Positions of power and running amok, destroying everybody around them, from Illinois to Texas and Louisiana, California, and I could never leave out Georgia, where they're having...
I had to stop that right there. This woman you see on the left side, the right side of Fannie Willis, this woman right here is something else. She literally had a man who rejected her follow. The man had his phones tapped and all kinds of crap. He finally got it in court. I guess the guy got some money. Because I'm going to tell you, here in America, this is from foreigners, here in America, if you don't have money, justice system is not going to work for you. Let's get back into it.
Hot girl summer all year long. You know, quote, acting bad like a city girl would.
Me, you wanna know what I do when I act bad? I do the I want.
Whatever, I do what I want.
I've been reporting on these city girl officials for years now. The first woman I named city girl mayor was Mayor Cantrell. I have an update on her coming up soon. So make sure you have all your notifications set for that. That's the OG city girl mayor. Now, Tiffany Tahoe of Dalton, Illinois, she came in and stole the title, just like how she's swindling all the money from Dalton and Thornton Township taxpayers. Well, I'll take that back. She didn't have to swindle or steal the title. I gave it to her gladly. Then the first city girl judge I covered was out of Georgia, followed by the city girl judge of Cleveland, Ohio, Judge Pinky. She got kicked off the bench last year. I covered that here as well. You know, the P-Valley fanatic that blamed her crazy behavior on menopause. Feel free to check out my playlist below in the description to catch up on all of these city girl officials. And now we have city girl judge Sonia McKnight out of Harrisburg, PA. First off, shout out to everybody watching from Harrisburg, but I need y'all to answer this question because I just don't understand.
Now this is a crazy case. This lady right here literally shot her ex in the head and tried to blame it on him like he did it. And she's been getting away with a lot of stuff. Let's continue on.
How in the world did this woman shoot her husband a couple of years ago? Before her real...
We can prove it by the pings from the towers. Admissible,
That went back too far.
conviction, affirmed on appeal, courts, maybe they shouldn't, but they have. But now, here comes
The business,
Willis and
motherfucker.
says,
The
never
Daily
again.
Read. Your
at $300,000. How in the world did this woman shoot her husband a couple of years ago, before her re-election? On top
We're
of
doing
all of
a live
that, she
show,
got
people.
wrapped up into
It's a
these
live
misconduct
show.
violations,
I'm getting
dealing
used
with
to
her
the
son's
system,
case and
so bear
misconduct
with
on
me.
the bench before her last election. And you all still voted this woman in for a second term? Well, as previously reported, the Triple OG Thug Life City Girl judge made the news once again while on suspension for the umpteenth time. She was arrested and hauled off to jail for shooting her boyfriend. Out here giving shots to the head, and then tried to convince him that he did it to himself, leaving the man blind in one eye. I reported that her bail was set at $300,000. It did take her longer than expected to get that bail money up, but I'm here to report not only did she bail out, but I got word that the Triple OG City Girl judge got out of jail and was spotted out partying. Yes, the lady tried to end a man's life for the second time, a different man. Remember, this is not the same guy from a couple of years ago. This is a whole other guy. She got out of jail and went clubbing. 57 years old, so-called educated, law degree, law license, a sitting judge. Sounds like a horrible Tyler Perry script, but it's real.
Like I said, people, this is what I mean when I say a lot of these people get these positions of power and they come up through the ranks and then they start abusing people beneath them. It happens all the time. It's just sad to see that black women are doing it. Let's continue on.
57-year-old OG City girl Sonia McKnight jumped out of jail after being locked up for about a week following her arrest in connection to the shooting of her ex-boyfriend. Her bail amount was $300,000, and the first thing she did was go to the club. Take a look at what I have here. You're not going to find this anywhere.
This is crazy.
Else. This is exclusive. That's Sonya, the strong, sassy senior shooter, spotted out without her lace front, all in the club partying like it's no tomorrow. Look at it. The lady on the left posted this. The city girl judge is standing on the right. She said, $300,000 bail? What's that to females like us? Just straight up ignorant. The punctuation is all wrong, and this is who the Thug Life judge is hanging out with at the club out on bail. She could care less that the victim, her ex-boyfriend, is still recovering. Now he's only got vision in one eye, while she's out here acting like a wild teenager. A judge, folks. A person who's got the authority to lock people up, and she's out here carrying on like this. Absolutely no shame, and that's one thing about them. They're bold with it. They get caught all the time, and you would think they would lay low. But no, she's not at home trying to get her house in order or get her life together. This lady is up in the club.
Yeah, I'm hanging out the windows.
Yeah, you with the
twerking.
That's what the
doing
talk about.
on.
Yeah, you living life.
Yeah, acting bad.
Yeah, acting bad. That's what's up.
Just like Tiffany Tahoe and Dalton. She's been caught in so much mess. Initially, when I started talking about this woman, back when no one cared to report her, the local news wasn't even getting much traction when I pulled up with the bullhorn. But I just knew by the fall of 2023 that Tiffany would stop cutting up. She would lay low. I wish I could say that happened, but every time I looked up, she was acting a complete fool again. And as more corporate media continue to join in on the case, Tiffany's not slowing down. She's going harder with her criminal activities. And
we're gonna talk about Tiffany later. She's coming up. We're gonna dive more in depth in her. This woman almost bankrupted a little town, and now the feds is after her. She's crazy.
And the cover-up, yearning for a bigger camera to get in front of, to continue living out this sick fantasy of hers.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Re-
I had to put that on pause real quick. We're going to get to Tiffany here in a second. This judge right here already shot a man in the groin. And I guess it was over the fact that he probably cheated. There's no telling. But to go that far, to actually shoot that man when he didn't put his hands on her, it's a different ball game. I heard recently, seen it to where people out here are trying to manipulate the system. They work their way into the system, get higher up in the system, then they join these organizations, and then they try to shit on everybody below them. It's a sad situation. I fight against stuff like that. I can't stand stuff like that. Let's continue on.
Nobody knows something. Don't nobody know nothing? Yeah. Nobody. Nobody? Trustee? Nobody? Nobody knows something.
What's going on in America, people?
Believe it or not, the woman that you just witnessed dressed as the crime kingpin Nino Brown from the 1991 Wesley Snipes movie, New Jack City, is an elected official who is now being investigated by the FBI. Now, this week, federal investigators confirmed that they are looking into Tiffany Henyard. She's the mayor of a small town in Illinois who has been accused of misusing taxpayer funds and more, and as a result of that, basically throwing the town into unmanageable debt. The situation is so bad that bankers are looking to repossess police cruisers from the town because she has failed to make payments to the lenders for the vehicles. But there's a lot more. So first, let's start off with who Henyard is. Henyard wears two hats in local government. As the Dalton mayor, it's known as the Village of Dalton, she takes home more than $46,000 in base pay, and as the supervisor of Thornton Township, she makes more than $200,000 a year, records show. She makes more money. She's the mayor of a small town of 20,000 people. She makes more money than our members of Congress. Like, let that sink in for a second. Brown, she reportedly signaled for a DJ to play Rihanna's Be Better Have My Money while fully committing to her Nino Brown persona, even carrying a small stuffed dog reminiscent of...
For those of you who don't know who Nino Brown is, Nino Brown was a fictional character in a movie, and I think it was paid for. She come dressed like Nino Brown. Let's get back to it. She come dressed like Nino Brown in court in front of her constituents and asks who told on her. It's crazy. These people are bold with it. And the shit just don't stop. It's crazy. I've never seen nothing like it. Let's get back to it.
Signaled for a DJ to play Rihanna's Be Better Have My Money while fully committing to her Nino Brown persona, even carrying a small stuffed dog reminiscent of a scene from the movie. Now look, I've got no problem with that. If you want to have fun, if you want to be a little wacky in the way you do your job, I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with you hiring a DJ to do musical cues with taxpayer money though. Especially when there's a deficit in the town and now they're in a lot of debt. Now, here's some more information on the Village of Dalton. In Dalton, which shares a border with Chicago, about 15% of families live in poverty, census records show. Burdened with some of the highest property taxes in Cook County, homeowners feel the full brunt of the tax burden since there's little commercial or industrial development in the town. That is an important fact.
She's saying that there is nothing in this town. It's one of those drive-through communities. You drive through it. You don't stop there for nothing unless you visit a family. A town like this with 20,000 people, she should not be making $200,000 a year. Period. Maybe $100,000. She is a city official, but she should be making $200,000. Our senators don't even make $200,000 a year.
For you guys to remember as I give you more details about this story, right? Because they don't have a lot of business going on in this small town. So in order to generate tax revenue, the town has high property taxes. So whatever businesses they have operating out of this town, you want to protect those businesses and you want to ensure that they're paying their taxes, right? Because that's another way that you generate tax revenue. Again, keep that in mind. Now, the small town is currently in debt to the tune of $7 million. I know that when we talk about government debt, we typically talk about the federal debt, which is far higher than that. But remember, we're just talking about a small town of 20,000 people. So $7 million in debt is a big deal. And so there are all sorts of allegations against Henyard's leadership. For instance, the allegations include her funneling taxpayer money to her cancer charity, which appears to not be a real charity, using taxpayer money on hair and makeup prior to public appearances. I'm on camera every day. TYT does not pay for my hair and makeup. Trips to Atlanta, Austin, and New York City, on which she frequently flew first class and stayed in ritzy hotels like the Four Seasons, taken during Henyard's term, ran the city over $67,000, according to records obtained by a local news station, WGN9.
Now remember, people, this is a town of 20,000 people. she's taking trips to New York and Las Vegas and all kinds of stuff, claiming she's bringing business to the community, but she's not bringing no business to the community. She's just taking trips on the taxpayers' money. You see, when money gets involved, when you start doling out the money to people, you're going to get followers. Also, when you start abusing people's money, that's when people come after you. If she would have laid low, this woman probably would have never even got in any kind of problems. If she would have handled her business right, she would have never gotten any problems. And that's sad.
Misusing police services 24/7 as her own personal security detail, which has led to the officers invoicing the town a ton of overtime hours. And basically it's costing a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the town. Using taxpayer money to lease a Chevy Tahoe for herself, documents show that she also overpaid for it. So the Dalton Board of Trustees has called her out for a lot of this. And Henyard tried to, well, lie about it. So here's the moment where she was confronted about the Chevy Tahoe that she leased for herself.
I sat here and looked at a lease that y'all was paying $149,000 for one of them trucks. You make absolute, that's like when you 19 years old and you go get a car and the interest rate 27%. That makes absolutely no sense. You're not making great finance, excuse me? Please state facts. But let me tell you, here it is, dated December 27th, 2022, the cash price of a 2023 Chevy Tahoe, $93,216.71. Interest and APR, $55,929.49. Total lease price, $140.
So there are all sorts of allegations.
This woman brought out the receipts, people. Look at this. That's crazy. She riding around in a Tahoe.
2022, the cash price of a 2023 Chevy Tahoe, $93,216.71. Interest and APR, $55,929.49. Total lease.
Man. All on the taxpayers' dime. Then she went on Roland Martin.
Used the organization to funnel money using her 2 local positions, mostly stealing money from Thornton Township to fund her alleged funnel organization. It's been over a year and a half since people started questioning this organization, but recently the Illinois Attorney General sent a notice to Tiffany Tahoe and Keith Freeman, her partner in crime, telling them to stop taking donations for the organization due to their failure to comply with state rules. This week, Tiffany Teflon Tahoe appeared on Roland Martin's YouTube.
Before we get to Roland Martin, I'm going to talk about this mail she had floating around her. A lot of women like this who are out here harming people and disrespecting people. A lot of women like this have male orbiters. And if you don't know what a male orbiter is, look it up. You need to know what it is. These people are dangerous men who float around these women. And these women sometimes mess with them, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just be friends with them. But they are very dangerous people. And when I mean dangerous by if you try to expose these people or you try to harm these people, they will try to do something to you. Most of these women out here committing these crimes have male orbiters around them. Some of them are beta males. Not all of them. Some of them are beta males. Hoping and wishing and praying. Some of them can be gay. Some of them can be well connected. These women, I'm willing to guarantee you, all of these women that was in this picture that I showed earlier, about all the women that's involved in problems in government, I guarantee you they have at least 2 or 3 male orders around them.
Show where she really made him look crazy. She lied to his face over and over about everything, and obviously Roland and his team hadn't done enough research on this woman because he had no follow-up questions or rebuttals for her obvious lies. One of those lies was about her charity. The Super City Girl mayor told Roland the charity was not in her name and she had nothing to do with it. She simply allowed the group to use her name and likeness.
When you look at how you're being framed, you are being called crazy, deranged, saying that you are stealing funds. You also you have a charity that from the Attorney General's office is, I understand they sent a cease and desist letter to your foundation.
I don't know nothing about that. I'm not crazy. I'm not
You have
deranged.
Tiffany Henry cares, your foundation. So the Attorney General's office hasn't reached out to you regarding your foundation?
So I want to set the record straight. I don't have a foundation. I am a supporter of anybody that's struggling with cancer. My mom had breast cancer, and I'm always push anybody that has that. If someone uses my name to push their charity, or if you say this is Tiffany t-shirt, people gonna buy it. Because right now, consider what? Clickbait. People make money off of my name by views. So you just take my name.
You said you don't have a foundation.
I do not. And that's why I said everybody go do your research. I'm not on anything.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Of course, I knew that was a lie when she said it. But yeah, this pathological liar got caught up once again, and we're going to get into it. But first, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates.
WGN Investigates has learned a suburban politician's charity has attracted the attention of the Illinois Attorney General after failing to file financial documents.
We've reported on Tiffany Henyard. She holds 2 elected positions, Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor. She's used those positions to steer money to her own cancer charity. But how that money is being used is anyone's guess.
I want to thank you guys for joining me on today's show. Like I said, this is my first live, and we're going to start recording shows, but we're also going to do our live shows. I'm on a different channel now. It's hard to learn this system, and it's easy. And what I mean by that is it's a lot of things I have to do to get this together. But I can't stop the show. The show must go on. So we're going to end this live stream today. I want to thank you guys for joining me. This is the Daily Read, and I'm out.
The Daily Read.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for